Hey guys, it's Vince with Manscaped. Well, welcome to the garage. As you can see, we got a project in front of us. We are planning to go down to Moab in mid-May. So right now, as of filming this, it's the 9th of February. So we got some work to do in a pretty short amount of time. I think we can get it done. I'm gonna walk you through what I need to have done by Moab, what I would like to have done by Moab, and kind of the future ultimate upgrades that I want to do to this Jeep. So this is my 1989 Jeep Cherokee Laredo. This is the Renix version of the Cherokee, so it's a little different than the high output 4-liter. As you can see, I've already done a few mods. Starting at the front, we got a Dana 30 high pinion axle. One of the upgrades I've already done is a 3/4 ton style crossover steering upgrade. These guys use a 3/4 inch heim that fits a 5/8 inch bolt. Upgrades here, I will be tearing the axle off again, welding on a truss, and going the whole 9 yards with this truss upgrade. I'll be welding in C-channel gussets. We'll polish this turd nice and shiny. I'll be installing a mechanical aux locker and upgrading gears to 488s. Right now I got 367s, I think, and this thing absolutely sucks on the highway. So we're totally gonna improve that and really improve it off-road. I was kind of eyeballing the 513 gears, but the pinion gets awfully small on this Dana 30 when you go up to that, and I'm not planning on going anything bigger than the 35s I already have. I'm already asking a lot out of this axle, so the next logical step is to go to a 1 ton, and that's way in the future. I'm doing one thing I probably shouldn't do, and that's going to chromoly 30 spline axle shafts. The only reason I'm doing that is I found a heck of a deal on a 30 spline aux locker, and the 30 spline shafts happen to be on sale at the same time. So yeah, why not? The last part in the front is going to be a steering box brace support. This is really cool. It ties across the 2 frame rails and also adds sector shaft support to your steering box. It's a good compromise until I do hydro assist. One of my biggest and most noticeable upgrades I've done to this Jeep is install a suspension lift. So I went with a rough country 4.5 inch lift. It wasn't their cheapest lift, but it's a rough country, and you know, it's a little more entry level. I'm still pretty happy with it. It rides pretty good. It was a good upgrade and able to get me more interested in wanting to upgrade this even further. I'm eventually going to be upgrading to long arms, most likely whenever I do a 1 ton swap, but that's, again, way in the future. With this lift, I could fit the 35 inch tires. I had to trim the fenders, do the cut and fold on the back, and also on the front there's a few seams you can cut and fold. These are Mickey Thompson Baja claws. I got them used a few years ago on Facebook for a really good deal. Unfortunately, they're discontinued. I really like these tires, but I'm gonna end up going to a Patagonia. Right now I need a spare. I don't have one. I'm gonna be buying one Patagonia and mounting it on a spare rim I got, and then eventually going to all 4 corners Patagonias. No major upgrade plans under the hood right now. The only thing I'm gonna do is install a cone style filter in place of the existing airbox. I have replaced my existing brake booster with a WJ brake booster. That was a huge upgrade. I can stop a lot better than I could before. One thing I did on this motor, the 4-liters, I guess this particular era is prone for breaking skirts off the pistons. So I replaced all 6 a couple years back, replaced the bearings at the same time, main and piston bearings, and honed the cylinders and got it all nice and clean. I also replaced all my lifters. I had a really bad lifter tick, the typical 4-liter lifter tick. So once I replaced those, got rid of that sound, and it runs, you know, as quiet as it could. Right now I still have an exhaust leak, so gotta fix that one of these days. I think this engine could really use a complete rebuild, or at least a good refresh, but at that point I'm gonna end up either replacing it with a stroker, or maybe a V8 swap, or maybe even electric. I need to tear off or replace my headliner too. It should be pretty easy, just gotta tear it down and glue some new fabric to it. I'm installing frame stiffeners too, so I gotta do quite a bit of welding up near the bottom of the Jeep where the carpet sits. So I have to pull the carpet out or I risk setting it on fire. Probably reinstall the carpet, but I might install bed liner instead. So a little background on this Jeep. This was my mom's Jeep. My parents bought this in 1990, so it was a year old when it was bought. Looked a lot better back then. The paint is absolute garbage. I have no clear coat left, but the nice part is I have no rust. And there's no dents on this thing. This thing's in really good shape. The eventual plan is bed liner over the entire Jeep. That should look pretty good. I'll probably keep the same color. I don't know, we'll figure that out as we go. That's not gonna happen before Moab. That's a future problem. I got an NP242 transfer case. I've already done the hack and tap mod to it. Back when I did this, there were no cheap slip yoke eliminator kits, so I went this method. It worked fine, and it seems to have positive outcomes from most everyone that does it. One of the coolest things about doing an SYE or a hack and tap is you can run the front drive shaft for your rear drive shaft on a Cherokee, at least the automatic. So I have 2 front drive shafts on this Jeep, so I only have to carry 1 spare and I'm good. I'm not planning any drive shaft upgrades before Moab later though. To the back of the Jeep. I have a Dana 44 that I pulled out of a different Cherokee. This originally had a Dana 35, got rid of that, put the 44 in, it was a direct bolt in. Upgrades back here, I have an aux locker, another one. We'll do 30 spline chromoly axle shafts, and I will be doing a custom truss back here. We'll be cutting it out on the CNC plasma. Probably mostly made out of 1/4" steel. I might do 3/8 for the top strap or a possible future 4-link upgrade. The most foundational upgrade I'm going to be doing for Moab is full frame stiffeners, from the front all the way back to the rear. Frame stiffeners lead into another upgrade. I'm going to be replacing the rockers, the 2x6 by 1/4 wall tube. I'll be designing some sort of bent plate, sort of trapezoidal shape, so they won't get hung up on rocks or anything like that. I'll be tying those from the stiffeners all the way to that 2x6 tube, really completing the system, and also giving me a good foundational point to tie in a cage eventually. That's going to happen after Moab though. I'll be pulling off these existing rockers, these JCRs. I bought these from someone that bought them and never installed them, so I got a good deal. I mean, they look cool, but the 2x6 will be a much more functional piece since I'm eventually going to put in a roll cage. Still have the original bumpers. I will be replacing those with a winch bumper on the front, going with a Smitty built and a stinger because I think it looks cool, and just doing a heavy duty on the rear with recovery points because we will probably need those. So there's a walkthrough of the Jeep. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Didn't get anything done in this video, but you know, this is the scope of work. Stick with me. I'm gonna have a ton of videos on all those upgrades I talked about and all the little things that it takes to go through and get that done. If you want to watch me struggle my way through getting this thing done, you know, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
What are you doing? Where you go, boy? Come here. Come here.